Hello, everyone. I hope everyone is doing well today. It has been a minute since I have done a live, but we are here today for a very special reason. As you know, this is the HR Sound Off live podcast show, and I try to do this at least once a month. Um, 2023 was a year, and so I'm now back in 2024, starting fresh in February. And I could not think of a better guest to start with than my guest that I'm having on today. If you are one of those people who, as an HR professional, in this space who is always looking for somewhere to go to learn, develop, build your network, enhance your HR competencies and skills, then you know the Transform Conference is one of those places that you need to be. And so joining me on stage today is co founder and organizer of Transform, Samara Jaffe. Samara, how are you doing today?
I am so good. Thank you so much for having me here today on Valentine's Day.
I forgot.
I know. I love that I get to spend an hour with you on this day.
Mhm.
So thank you so much for having me here. It's so nice to have a chance to chat with you.
It's an absolute pleasure to have you here today, Samara. I want to just give the audience a little bit of introduction to you. So, tell the audience, who is Samara Jaffe? What are you all about? And what are you up to these days?
Thank you. I'm not at all busy right now. I definitely say that joking.
You would have to be.
Yes, a little bit about me. I am co-founder and GM of Transform, but really at heart, I would say I'm a curator and a connector. And so where I find passion is in having, one-on-one conversations with amazing, inspiring humans that are just doing noteworthy things, right, in their personal lives and their professional lives. And so, I have the benefit of the largest platform ever, right, to be able to have these amazing conversations and to meet inspiring leaders across the global ecosystem that are just doing great work. And so, what I do is curate and connect people on the largest platform, which is, via community and via an in-person conference, which is Transform, as Julie mentioned, which is coming up in 4 weeks' time, March 11th to 13th at the Wynn Las Vegas. But, the thread that brought me here, so I'm not an HR person by background. I'm also not an events person by background. Really,
Wow.
the thread,
Neither.
neither. So it's, you never know where your career will take you. I would never have predicted that this is what I would be doing now. But when I look back, I can see the thread of connection kind of as long as I remember. I mean, even when I was a kid, I had different friend groups. I didn't have one friend group. I had different friend groups. And I always wanted to bring those friends together to meet each other. And then we would form different groups of
Right.
friends, right, that kind of celebrated diversity and different perspective and different passions. So that is a little bit about me. Is love, really just love being kind of with similarly minded, passionate humans, right, who want to create change and good together.
Mm-hmm. That's amazing. I'm so happy that you took this time to decide that you were going to create an amazing event such as Transform. And I want to thank you for all of the hard work that you do. If no one's said that to you yet, I want to thank you and your team because I can see all the work that you're putting in behind the scenes as a speaker. And it's nothing short of phenomenal. So, and I know it's planning months and months in advance to make sure that this event is successful. So, tell us a little bit about how Transform came about. Since
Yeah.
you're not in HR, you're not an event planner, how did Transform come about?
Um, It is an interesting journey. So I had the pleasure of connecting with one of my co-founders back in 2016. I was doing consulting at the time, and got connected with my co-founder who was starting an event in the insurance industry. So he'd spent more time in events and was kind of building an event studio really to launch events in industries where technology was playing a transformative role. There was a lot of new investor dollars kind of fueling innovation. And so I joined forces to help launch an event called InsurTech Connect that was in the insurance industry, which was a great success. And so we started thinking about how do we replicate that playbook in other industries. And
Hmm.
at that point, so that was 2000, end of 2017, there was lots of conversations about the future of work, right? It was so far off at that point.
Yes.
It's something we all imagined.
Hmm.
And there was a lot of new investment dollars kind of fueling HR tech. And so we started looking more closely at the space. I think, unlike the insurance industry, there is a lot of HR events out there. So it's a
Yes.
conference
A
landscape.
lot. Hmm.
But when we dug in, what we discovered is, talking to people leaders in the space, many of them didn't go to any of the other conferences. Like they were
Hmm.
hungry to find their people,
Yes.
hungry for learning opportunities and discover new technology solutions, but they didn't want to go to the other conferences out there, right? They were
Hmm.
relying on local community to bring each other, to find kind of their peer set.
Hmm.
And so we saw an opportunity in that gap to create really a community and an event that was built by and for the community. And so that's what we did. So it's been a journey.
Hmm.
We had a 2-year hiatus. This is actually a pretty big milestone for us. This is the
Yeah.
5th year of the conference. So big five. Uh,
Oh, congratulations.
Thank you. I'm
Wow.
so excited
That
to
is a big deal.
it's been a journey, but it's been amazing. The leaders and the people that I have built friendships and relationships with,
Hmm.
just have changed my life certainly for the better. And so I have such
Yeah.
an appreciation for the work that this community does to really
Hmm.
create the now and next of work and to take care of
Hmm.
employees on a global scale. Our lives are so intertwined these days, right? It's kind of work and life together.
Hmm.
And so, we have this great opportunity to support people both professionally and personally,
Yeah.
in their journeys. So that's a little of that's the backstory.
Oh, that's such a wonderful story. I'm sure you've learned a lot over the years about HR as a result, probably stuff that you wish you didn't know. What would you say is the biggest thing that you have appreciated about HR professionals as a result of hosting these events?
I mean, I have the benefit certainly of talking to so many great leaders across the ecosystem. And so
Hmm.
I think that, one of the things that I have appreciated the most is just seeing how strategic, and business savvy these leaders are, right? Not
Hmm.
only to think about the people and the talent strategy, but to think about ultimately, right, how do you create human first environments that are inclusive for your employees, but while driving business results? And so, I
Yeah.
think the strategic minds of this ecosystem and community are
Hmm.
so often, I think, underestimated. Um,
Yeah.
and so, seeing and getting to discover those minds and also like hear other people's journeys, right? Not everyone grows up within human resources, right? There's a lot
Correct.
of leaders who've now grown up in marketing or analytics,
Hmm.
consulting, or product strategy or
Hmm.
operations. And, they all understand the impact of this function, and have taken on different roles, right? And so I
Yeah.
think that's been really exciting for me to, to
Hmm.
learn and discover. I mean, my experience of HR as a business operator and a C-suite executive, I think prior to getting more integrated in the community,
Right.
is my eyes have been opened in
Hmm.
really amazing ways to the people that I get to talk to.
Mm-hmm. I'm sure there are some stories that you could tell, but we can talk about them in Vegas.
We could talk about that in Vegas. Yes, absolutely.
Absolutely. I really am so intrigued by the broad spectrum of topics that are going to be covered at the event. So, the next question I really want you to share with us is like, who is Transform for? Because I remember at one point, I think when you guys first started, it was HR Transform.
Mm-hmm.
And then you dropped the HR and it became Transform. And I'm sure that was very intentional.
Yep.
So tell us a little bit about the intentionality behind that and who Transform is really for.
Yep. So I'd say Transform is really for people first change makers that are thinking about kind of the intersection of workplace, work culture, right, and the health and well-being of their employees. And so you're right. The name was originally HR Transform. But our view has always been that, the way that we create change and foster the most learning and connections is by bringing a broader ecosystem together. And so that includes, right, business executives. So C-suite executives that are making decisions about talent strategy, about DEI priorities, about budget, right? Senior HR leaders, whether it's a CHRO or a chief people officer or a head of total rewards or DEI or L&D. And then investors who are really funding innovation in the space. The entrepreneurs who are building, right, new solutions based on buyer needs and kind of marketplace needs, health insurance payers, health benefits brokers, consultants, right? This ecosystem together, right, are ultimately the stakeholders that will create change. And so we wanted to make sure that we built a community and an event that would resonate with all of those leaders versus an event that was called HR Transform, right? Someone who's a C-suite CEO at a public company, they might say, why would I go to that event?
Exactly.
Only my HR team should go to that event. And so that was really a big part of the journey was, for us, it's about bringing all of the decision makers that have an ability to create positive change together and thus transform
the workplace for the better and create better people experiences for everyone.
Absolutely.
I love it. I absolutely love it. So, what can people expect when they attend Transform? We're all converging in a beautiful space. Actually, I want to leave that question a little bit for. I mean, we already know it's in Vegas, right? But what can people expect to experience at Transform? Because so my word for 2024 is experience. And tied to that is I want to have really great experiences in my life for 2024. I want to experience good things for me in terms of my business, in terms of the people I interact with. I want to experience new things like going to conferences like Transform. And I just want to have a great, so everything for me is tied to experience. And I believe as HR at our core, our chief responsibility is to create great experiences across the organization. So what experiences will people have when they attend Transform?
Such a good question. I feel like there's so many. I don't know that I could cover them all.
Well, no, we don't want you to cover them all. We need you to leave something. Just whet people's appetite a little bit that makes them go, I'm going to go buy my ticket right now.
Yes. I mean, I think that so much of the experience is in the people that you meet, right? So in many ways, it is a bit of a reunion with people that you know, right? And kind of the beginning of a new relationship that will also last you forever. And so it's hard to imagine kind of, right, going to a reunion in this context, but in a lot of ways it does feel like that. Like you'll see people that are so excited to reunite every year at Transform, and the hugs and the smiles and the relationships that you'll build, right, I think is such a powerful part of the experience. But you'll also have, I think, just moments. There are moments. And those moments might be, as simple as like being inspired by a musical performance at the event by someone in the community, right?
Mm-hmm.
Like that you would never expect, like, wow, these amazing creators and artists within our community that you never would have known are also amazing musicians or stand-up comedians, or those moments I think are special.
Mm-hmm.
I think, other experience, I think you'll be challenged to think outside the box. So we have conversations, right, that may challenge your kind of current way of thinking, that
Mm-hmm.
may inspire you
Mm-hmm.
to take a different approach, right, that may kind of give you something to take back to your organization. Um, so there's absolutely those learning moments, right,
Yeah.
that will open your mind in ways I think that you hadn't thought possible, possibly. I mean, we have amazing conversation around psychedelics and the impact of it on leadership, and the future potentially of psychedelics as an employee benefit. I think that is definitely a session that will likely open your mind in ways
Mm-hmm.
that is unique and maybe not something you would have thought about in the past. There's sessions around, thinking about becoming a startup advisor. So as you're thinking about, your next chapter in your career, what do you want to do next? Are you looking to give back to tech founders and get more
Mm-hmm.
involved in the tech ecosystem?
Mm-hmm.
So there's a lot of great learning opportunities, I think, that will be a part of the experiences. And then there's just fun, right? So a lot of people talk about the after party.
Mm-hmm.
If you can stay till Wednesday night, those are memories that will last you a lifetime. Flo Rida is performing this year, and this is a community that loves to dance and smile and enjoy. So there's,
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. That's just a sample of
Yeah.
some of what you can expect.
Right. I love it. I think, contrary to popular belief, HR people do love to have fun. We are fun people. And so I think this is a site. You know what this is? You know what I when I thought of Transform and I saw Flo Rida was the person
Yep.
performing on Wednesday, I was like, this is the HR Christmas party.
The holiday party and the
The
spring
holiday
holiday
the
party.
spring holiday party for, well, I say it's for everyone, like all
For
people who
everyone.
want to create a
Yeah.
better people experience, but you will see a side of HR that you've probably never seen before if you're not in the space. It's a good opportunity to see how HR people let their hair down, and intermingle with
Yes.
everybody else,
We
right?
all we all need to let our hair down, right? I mean, work hard and play hard in a safe environment.
Yeah.
I think is really important.
Yeah, I think one of the things that you mentioned before that I think is so powerful is the ability to connect and reconnect. So you talk about people reconnecting who would have attended Transform before,
Yeah.
and then people connecting. So this is my first experience at Transform, and there are so many people in my LinkedIn community that I would have met during the pandemic, before the pandemic, through the pandemic, that I've never met. And I'm looking forward to actually meeting some of those people for the first time. As a matter of fact, the whole reason that I ended up at Transform is because someone in my LinkedIn community said my name, Tracy Spanenberg. I
Yeah.
love you forever, and then some. And it was all around a conversation that Tracy was having on LinkedIn about her experiences as a speaker, recognizing the privileges that she has and that she thinks it's important for those privileges to be extended to other people, which sparked a conversation that I joined in to talk about some of the challenges I faced with trying to break through as a speaker internationally, which led you, Deborah,
Mm.
and yourself to respond to me and say, we'd love to have you at Transform. And I was like, wow, could it be that easy? But you guys really made it so warm and welcoming. And if that's what I'm going to experience at Transform, I'm all in. But I say all of that to say, what opportunities do you provide during Transform for people to connect
Mhm.
and build networks and foster good relationships going forward?
Yep. So I think one of the things that's special about Transform is it really is a community of communities. And so, you may already be plugged into some of those groups, startup experts, Amplify, People Tech Partners, Culture First, right? There's so many communities out there that a lot of leaders are a part of. And so those are always a great opportunity to make sure that you kind of have a group, of people that especially from a first time experience perspective. But actually, one of the things we're doing this year is adding a first time attendee experience that many past attendees are actually helping to create. And
Really?
so we're going to use past attendees as ambassadors. So they'll have Ask Me buttons on and they'll be available. We're going to do a virtual webinar kind of in the 2 weeks before the event to help give people kind of their Thrive tips on terms of how to navigate. We're going to do like a networking, kind of a little networking meet and greet on Monday at 11 a.m., kind of on the kickoff day, so that you can instantly start to meet people in person and like find people to be with for the rest of the event. And we're going to have kind of a meeting point so that before the kickoff reception on Monday, if you don't know anyone and you want to walk with other people to the kickoff, there'll be people there who've been there before so that you can kind of build an instant community. So those are a couple things. In addition, we do have an event app that we make available 2 weeks before the event. We'll allow registered attendees to discover who else will be there.
Oh,
You can
wow.
set up meetings with people, either that you already know or that you want to get to know. We on site, we use smart badges, which have very cool beacons. So you can actually connect kind of live with someone. So if we were together, or if we had a group of people in the hallway and we were like, we want to connect and stay in touch, like everyone just presses their beacons. And then your connections will show up in a list in your event app so you can connect with people after the event.
That's amazing.
Yeah. So we have lots of things like that, different opportunities, different receptions to make sure that we help bring people together. Because I think for the people like the OGs who've been there for years,
Mm-hmm.
right, we know a lot of people already. But for
Mm-hmm.
someone who's first time, maybe someone who doesn't even have all of the relationships you've built virtually, we want to make sure that they have a great experience and can easily build connections and relationships and navigate
Mm-hmm.
and not get kind of lost in all of the activities because there's a lot to do, right? There's
Yes.
so much to pick from,
Mm-hmm.
and we want to help everyone navigate to have the best experience possible.
Awesome. I know that the agenda is up, so people can actually go on the website and scan through the agenda and see what's happening each day. But tell us about some of the speakers that you've brought together for this year's Transform event. Who are some of the featured speakers? What are some of the topics that they're going to be talking on?
There's such an amazing agenda planned
Mm-hmm.
and a lineup of speakers, right? Both speakers that are more, well known, that are names that people are familiar with, as well as voices, right? I think who aren't as well known, right? And who are, working day to day. And so the speaker lineup really is a great combination of those different practitioners, leaders, investors, entrepreneurs. On the big name side, I think you may have seen last week we announced Chelsea Clinton is going to be taking the main stage,
Mm-hmm.
talking about women's health on the main stage on Wednesday. On Tuesday, we have two great sessions. One by Lattice, their CEO and CPO are going to be talking together about really the strong partnership of a CEO and a chief people officer. And so
Mm-hmm.
thrilled about that conversation. We then have a conversation with the CEO of Sana, Joel Hellermark, and Josh Burson, talking about AI and HR,
Mm-hmm.
which I think will be really fascinating. So
Yeah.
those are kind of some highlights of the main stage. But so much of the great conversations happen, in the rest of the program. So I know you're going to join a conversation around creating inclusive spaces for all,
Mm-hmm.
which is really fabulous. And you're joined by a number of amazing ladies that are doing great work across different areas of the industry. We have, so there, oh God, there's so many great sessions.
I
It's
know.
hard to pick, but
Yes.
AI certainly will be kind
That's
of,
a huge topic.
yep, women in
Mhm.
women's health will be a very kind of front and center topic. Um,
Yes.
I think
I
conversation.
did see that conversation on menopause. I am
Yes.
so happy to see that there because I know there are so many women in HR who are struggling with menopause right now and not understanding
Mhm.
the different nuances that come with being perimenopausal.
Right.
And, it was only last year at International Menopause Day that I realized menopause is actually a 1 day event.
Which
After
is
that,
one
after
day event.
it's a 1 day event, 1 day, it's the day that your period stops forever. That's menopause.
Or I think it's like that after if it's stopped for at least 1 year.
1 year,
Yeah.
right. So once it stopped forever,
Yeah.
then that 1 day is menopause. After that, you're postmenopausal. Prior to that, you are perimenopausal.
Yep.
So I'm like, what on earth? You mean now, once it's gone, I still may have menopause symptoms for the rest of my life? Like, how is one supposed to function? Like, it's been hard. Menopause has been such a hard journey, but I also think this is such a great topic because it helps leaders get a good insight into how to be more emotionally aware
Right.
of the challenges and experiences that their HR team will be going through. Because let's face it, HR is a predominantly female profession.
Mhm.
And so, more on often than not, people are working with female HR professionals. We go through a whole host of emotions during that menopause phase, but hormones change, all kind of things happen. And I think this is a really important topic for raising more awareness around well-being in
Yep.
HR, because I think for for too long we have neglected ourselves,
Mhm.
and as a result of neglecting ourselves, leaders have not known how to treat us right,
Yep.
especially in that space.
Yeah. I mean, I a couple of thoughts there. So
Mm-hmm.
it reminded me also of a session that we're doing on CHRO burnout, which,
Mm-hmm.
right, I think taking care of ourselves, right? HR leaders are always very focused on taking care of others, but
Mm-hmm.
taking care of their own emotional well-being, I think, is equally, if not more important. Uh,
Correct.
but on the conversation of right menopause, it's such an interesting one that I've been having kind of more open conversations about recently, like in
Mm-hmm.
perimenopause. Right, it's one of those health topics that like not everyone feels comfortable about or wants to talk about openly, right?
Mm-hmm.
Not only because it's about your health, but when you start talking about that, like it's also your age, right? And
Yes,
so there's also real like ageism is one of the most overlooked
absolutely.
diversity aspects in workplaces. So
Mm-hmm.
here we're talking about, trying to, bring out into the open conversations, not only about your age in the workplace, but about
Mm-hmm.
your health in a very personal way.
Yeah.
But I think it's important, right? And all of those things also, right? Your mental health very much is a part of the conversation when you're thinking about menopause or perimenopause symptoms. So, I'm excited to provide a platform that we can have these conversations more
Yeah.
openly, and try to lead by example so that leaders also can go back and figure out how they open up the dialogue within their organizations.
Mm-hmm. What is the impact, Samara? Like, what is some of the feedback that you've gotten? I know this isn't a question that was listed, but I'm just curious because I mean, what is some of the feedback that you've gotten about the way that Transform has impacted when the workplace, when people go back to work after they've been to a Transform event? Like, what's some of the insights and feedback that you're getting about them being actually to able to apply what they're learning or experiencing at Transform? Because I get this all the time. People go to conferences or they go to workshops, and when they come back into the workplace, they go, I was already on the bandwagon, like I was already there with them. So like, um the people who needed to be there weren't there.
Yeah.
Or I get the other side where people go, this was such great information, but there's no way I'm going to get the buy-in to do half the things or
Mhm.
even a tenth of the things that I learned at this conference, even though I came away energized and excited.
Yeah.
I feel the connection there. What feedback do you get? Because obviously that changes how you deal with Transform every year, right?
Yeah. I mean, I wish that there was a more structured way to always get all of that closed loop feedback. I mean, we get a lot of amazing feedback.
Mm-hmm.
I'd say, the stories that I can tell off the top of my head, I think that are probably people who are more vocal about the impact.
Yeah.
So, I mean, recently, I think we shared Shelly Morales's story. She had kind of been a fractional HR leader and ultimately then was creating kind of her own business, and right, Transform really like helped her accelerate and launch her business
Mm-hmm.
in a really meaningful way. So I have lots of great stories of people who've talked about getting connected to investors, right? Or getting, starting their business, or, David Landman from ex Goldman Sachs talks a lot about kind of the inspiration he took away for his own personal kind of next chapter in
Mm-hmm.
his career. Um, I can't off the top of my head remember some others in terms of
Yeah.
this was a way to tackle, right, to explain the ROI of DEI within my
Mm-hmm.
organization. And, I applied it and this is the result. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
love those. And actually, this year we're trying to do more to capture those. We're calling them transform moments. But
Yes.
we would love to hear those stories of, did you get a piece of advice, or a different perspective or strategy in a session that enabled you to, right, get approval for a new, benefits platform, or
Mm-hmm.
that helped you really launch a new strategy and evangelize DEI within your organization.
Mm-hmm.
So, we love that feedback.
Yeah.
Certainly would love to capture those moments and hear more about them
Mm-hmm.
in the future. But there isn't like, it's people, if they want to share,
Yes.
they do.
Share.
So, we hope people will. And
Right.
certainly, Julie, I hope that, since this will be your first time, I'd love to hear your thoughts. Maybe we do this
Absolutely.
6 months after, and you tell me what you thought, and what you
I'd be happy
learned,
to.
and how it's helping.
Absolutely. I'd be happy to. I want to say one of the features at Transform that I am very excited about. I am a book nerd, but I'm also an author. And I know there's opportunities for authors to share their books. I know that prior to that, you've been sharing some of the books of some of the authors who will be there. If you're not in the Transform group on LinkedIn, please hop in there now while you're here. Hop in that group
Yeah.
and get all the information as well. But what I am most excited about as a podcaster
Yes.
is the opportunity to actually have live podcast interviews at Transform. Tell us a little bit about that because I am so excited. I'm sure lots of other podcasters are going to be there. Maybe you could tell us about some of them, but HR Sound Off will definitely be there.
So new this year, actually, we created a more integrated innovation zone as a part of our EXP, which is our experience pavilion.
Mm-hmm.
And as a part of that, we have the innovation stage. We have an innovation lounge sponsored by a number of different VC firms. And we have this podcast zone which is going to have 4 different spots for podcasters across the industry to do interviews with the community. And so I'm thrilled, Julie, that you'll be taking advantage of it. There's so many other podcasters. I wish I had the list to be able to refer to off the top of my head. But there's a great list of podcasters that are going to be doing live interviews from the podcast zone. Each spot is kind of like a little living room almost. And so it will be a great place to kind of like, sneak on by and check it out. And, maybe there's an opportunity for you in the community to also be a part of an interview with one of our podcasters. So we're trying something new this year, which we're really excited about, and hope that there's a lot of great content and insights that come out of it.
I am so excited for it. Listen, you don't know if something is going to be successful unless you try. And I'm excited. Like, all of this alone just tells me Transform is so out of the box. Like, there is no box. And I am so 100% sold on that. I am really looking forward to that. I mean, as a podcaster, you love to have different experiences. And I've never done a live studio interview. Never. And so this is something that I'm really excited about, being able to explore that and maybe think about how I can adopt that in the future. But also, I'm looking for sponsors. Like, I want to take HR Sound off to the next level. We'll see what happens.
You never know. I'm sure there's a lot of good.
I'm putting it into the universe.
Yeah. There's a lot of good sponsors out there that I can't imagine why they would not want to be associated with the amazing community and interviews that you're doing.
Thank you so much. Tell us about some of the authors and some of the books that you've been sharing. Anything standing out for you? I know Confessions of an HR Pro is there. Thank you so much for that. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. No, I mean, there's so many great authors in our community. It's actually, I think, a hidden gem that we didn't always know about. And so we are doing author spotlights. I know that we did, a couple recently. Mita Malik, who's a best-selling author who wrote Reimagining Inclusion, is going to be there. Also doing a session. God, I wish I had the whole list. I didn't bring the list with me.
It's okay. You know what? We can put the list in the comments going down. Don't worry. We can put the list in the comments in the show notes.
We definitely have a number of great book signings and talks that are going to take place in the Learning Lab. So if you're coming, be sure to check out the Learning Lab on the agenda to see what's scheduled there. I know Jean Eddy is the CEO of ASA, is going to be talking about her book. We have another amazing leader talking about her book. God, now I need to try to see if I could quickly come up with the amazing names of it while we're on the call, on the session here. But I know we just promoted also a book, I think, by Kelly Stephen Weiss, who's the Chief Transformation Officer at ServiceNow. Kelly's going to be there. So Anessa has a new book coming out.
Yes. I'm looking forward to Anessa's book.
Yes, me too. I'm not going to say the name of the book. But
No, we're not. We're not going to do that. We'll leave. You can find it out in Vegas or go on LinkedIn when she releases it and you'll find it.
Yes, exactly. But no, there's such a great community. So Kara Richardson Whiteley who actually is going to be on the session with you, is also going to be talking about her book that's actually being turned into a movie.
Are you kidding me?
My Journey Up Kilimanjaro at 300 Pounds.
Ooh.
Her is, I think, is in the process of being turned into a movie. So she's going to be there talking about her book and signing some editions. So there's, great stuff.
Oh, I'm so excited. Like, I'm getting more and more excited as we talk. I know that in order to put an event off like this, to pull an event off like this, is no short of having support from sponsors. Pulling events together and getting sponsors together is no easy task. I've been there as a Disrupt HR organizer. I know it's not easy, and this is a big deal. So tell us about some of the amazing sponsors that have come on board to support you to create Transform this year.
Yeah, I'm so grateful for all of the sponsors and partners that provide generous support to enable us to bring the event to life. Right, not only sponsors but attendees, right, who buy tickets to come and attend and kind of spend 3 days with us. I know everyone has really busy schedules.
Mm-hmm.
Really grateful this year. I'll just highlight a few of our title sponsors
Mm-hmm.
that I had already mentioned. But on the title sponsor side, Lattice, really excited to have Lattice kind of show
Oh,
up in
my
a
favorite people,
big
Lattice.
way this year. So Lattice, Modern Health, who's been a sponsor for years, so they've been a long-time supporter on the mental health side. Sana on the AI learning and development platform. They're doing amazing work. Like, you
Mm-hmm.
definitely need to check out what they're doing.
Mm-hmm.
Sequoia has been an amazing long-time supporter on the benefits like total rewards, compensation, people investment platform. Sparrow on lead management is another longtime supporter. So there's so many great sponsors, but those are, extra special thank you to our title sponsors
Mm-hmm.
that I just mentioned for their, long-term support of the community and the event.
Yes, thank you, sponsors. Without you, these things are even harder to achieve. So we're always grateful to have good sponsors. I have just shared the link to the tickets. And if you use my partner link, you get $200 off. So don't hesitate to click on that link
Yeah.
and buy your ticket now. If
Before
you
next Friday when the prices are going up.
correct. So
Yeah.
you've got some time, but not that much to make a decision. Go get that ticket. Meet us in Vegas. We are looking forward to meeting you, learning from you, growing with you. Now, when you think about the future of Transform, how do you envision continuing to make a difference in the lives of your participants and communities and companies alike going forward? What does the future for Transform look like?
So I'd say the future is global and multi-channel. So, whereas in the past, we had an annual conference and then we weren't able to really like continue to engage and advance the conversations.
Mm-hmm.
That is all going to change. And so we'll be making some big announcements on site at the event. But really excited to meet leaders where they are, right? To provide them the
Mm-hmm.
connections, the learning, the support they need year round, right? Whether that's locally, by bringing people together for local events, right? Or bringing people together for an annual conference or bringing people together virtually. Our focus is really on advancing this ecosystem platform to support conversations across change makers throughout the year, not
Mm-hmm.
just 3 days during the year. So that's what we have in the works.
Yeah.
Is a lot of great global expansion, product expansion, to continue to support the community that's really, I think, embraced us and help made kind of us their own. And so,
Mm-hmm.
it's really that feedback that's guiding us as we think about future innovation. Uh,
Mm-hmm.
what do you need, right? How can we help? How can we help bring people together in a meaningful way? And so, trying to really bottle the magic that happens in person,
Yeah.
and bring that to life, not just those days in Vegas, but year round.
Yeah. That's amazing. I think we have a lot to look forward to. I couldn't believe that there could possibly be more surprises in store, but it seems like there are definitely more surprises in store
Yep.
for us at Transform. So I think in Caribbean terms, we would say miss this and blame yourself.
I love that. Miss this and blame yourself. That's good. I
Mm-hmm.
I appreciate that.
Yes. So you definitely, definitely do not want to miss being a part of Transform 2024. You want to see those amazing speakers. You want to connect with all the beautiful people that you've met here on LinkedIn. You want to make sure that you're at the cusp of understanding technology, processes, and how to engage people in the workplace, but also getting an opportunity to let your hair down, to
Yeah.
breathe, enjoy the food, the sights, the sounds, the experience of it all is really going to be something exciting and invigorating. Anything else you want to share with our audience today before we sign off about Transform, about the work you're doing, anything at all?
You said it so beautifully. I don't know that I can top that. I think that's artistry. I'm like, can you? I'm taking you with me everywhere. I think that I think you brought it to life, right? It's very much about finding your people and kind of being, present in the moment with the community. Um,
Mm-hmm.
and so, I'm so thrilled that Tracy, led us to get to know each other, Julie, and that you're going to
Absolutely.
be there with us at the event this year. And I hope this is the beginning of working together in, much more bigger ways in the future. You have such an amazing heart. And
Thank
so
you.
I'm just grateful, I think, on behalf of myself and the community more broadly, that you're opening it up, regularly, and helping kind of others advance and grow. So thank you for the work that you do, and
Thank
just for the
you. Thank you.
amazing heart that you bring and that you show and you share with the community. I'm appreciative and really grateful to get to know you.
Thank you so much. I really do appreciate you and your words. I'm always appreciative of Tracy. She works so hard and that she takes a moment out of her time to even mention me. I'm always grateful for that. And that this opportunity and community expansion is possible definitely is something that I'm very grateful for. I am looking forward to meeting you.
Yeah.
Everyone says in real life, like that's all I've been hearing over the last couple of days and seeing
Yeah.
over the last couple of days on LinkedIn. Everyone's looking forward to meeting everyone in real life. I must say, shout out to um, Hiba Youssef.
Yeah.
I absolutely love Heba, and I'm so excited to see her. And I'm hoping that she does I Hate It Here, her podcast piece. I hope she does it as well. I'm so looking forward to actually meeting Heba for the first time.
Yeah.
And just so many wonderful experiences. I could not be prouder to be a part of a movement like Transform and to see all of the amazing things that we're going to experience and then be able to bring back into our workplaces to make the workplace a better place. So thank you, Samara. Thank you to your team for all of your hard work. It does not go unnoticed on me as an organizer, as a founder and a CEO.
Yeah.
Does not go unnoticed on me. And thank you for taking the time on Valentine's Day to actually have this conversation with me. I
I
hope I didn't
love it.
I hope I didn't
I was
take
like,
you away.
this was better than flowers. I feel like my heart is full and warm. And yeah, the Transform team is amazing and working tirelessly
Mm-hmm.
to bring this experience to life. So I am eternally grateful for the people I get to work with day in and day out, and
Mm-hmm.
especially during crunch time.
Yes.
You have to laugh, when it gets the level of stress that builds around an event in the final days. But thank you for acknowledging them, and for supporting us so beautifully.
Absolutely.
It's been such a pleasure to spend time with you.
It's been a pleasure to have you as well. Well, that's it, guys. We have shared with you all the wonderful things that are going to happen at Transform. Transform takes place March 11th to 13th this year at the Wynn Hotel in Las Vegas. miss this and blame yourself. I promise you, you'll be kicking yourself that you did not get there. There are so many amazing people there that you know on LinkedIn that you know you've wanted to meet them in person. Don't let this opportunity pass you by. I've given you a link that gives you $200 off your ticket. Don't miss it. Go click it. I didn't even mean to rhyme.
I
It
was
just
like, wow, that's impressive. Maybe now I think you may have some talents, spoken poet talents here, which I may have to tap for another surprise. So we'll have to
oh,
talk offline.
oh my goodness. Yeah, well, we'll definitely do that when we end the stream.
Yeah.
We'll definitely do that. Samara, it's been an absolute pleasure to have you here. You are welcome back anytime. I am so happy to know you.
Thank you. Me
And
too.
I wish you every success for Transform this year and many years to come. And like you said, I hope this is the start of a great relationship of us working together.
Me too. Thank you again, Julie.
You are very welcome. I'm going to close out here, everyone. Thank you so much for being here today. I know that it's been a while since we've done a live, but lives are back once a month. I promise you that. Next month, we're going to be talking to another amazing professional who also has something else up her sleeve. I'm excited to share that with you in March for something that's happening in April. So stay tuned for that. In the meantime, thank you for joining us here on HR Sound Off Live, and we'll see you again when we next sound off.